What do we have for Leo? Temperance. Sag energy at the foundation of the reading, Leo. Leo, the downloads that I have been receiving for you for the past few days has all been in relation to the path you're on and trusting the direction you're going. I also heard just before this reading, you don't have to be perfect, just better than who you were yesterday. So I feel that this is the tone of what I'm getting here with this temperance. Temperance is all about purpose, it's all about alignment, it's all about balance, and it's all about healing. I feel that a lot of you are being called right now to do chakra clearings, okay? And this is actually something that's been coming up in some of the personal readings I've been doing for individuals. We're very much at a time where we're getting ready to step through this new portal. We're getting ready to step into this new timeline. It's all in the astrology. And we really do need to do some maintenance work. Everybody can benefit from this, but I'm really picking it up strongly in your energy right now, Leo. All the struggles and resistance that you've overcome in your life that has occurred up until this point has left a kind of residual energy behind. See, this is very challenging. We can't really see the damage that these karmic cycles we've removed ourselves from have done to us spiritually. It will usually result in behavioral patterns. Maybe you start feeling a bit depressed, you start getting anxiety. And I would say that a large percentage of the time, it has to do with some sort of energetic clearing that you need to do on yourself. Now, what I'm getting here with this temperance right here at the foundation of the reading is also something around self-control. And I feel that this is concerning individuals in your life that you've disengaged from, so to speak, and how these individuals might be showing up in your life right now to try and hold you back. You're being called to remain very balanced at this point, Leo. You're so close to stepping through this new portal and into this new timeline, and I feel that you could be having some distractions, some tests coming through. So just be very mindful of your surroundings. Be very mindful about how you are reacting to these energies should they come back around. There's also quite a large message that I've been getting. This was amongst the downloads surrounding forgiving the wicked in your life, Leo. You know, forgiveness is so interesting, and it obviously comes up in the readings quite a lot. But what I really think that forgiveness is when you're going through forms of a spiritual awakening is you elevating and just understanding that those who created resistance and struggle in your life are now on a lower timeline. They're essentially, even though I don't want to say that any of us are better than anyone, they are vibrationally beneath you. It's an energy of not being spiritually developed. That's it. That's what I wanted to say. Now, when you are able to forgive individuals, like these wicked individuals that created this resistance on your path, and it's not forgiveness that you have with them, it's just something you have from within, it really does set the tone, and I feel it's what gives you that final push into the timeline. It's as if forgiveness over those you never thought you would forgive is the final ingredients to your elevation, Leo. What do we have at the sacral? Ten of Pentacles, Virgo energy at the sacral. This goes along with everything that I'm picking up here. What an energy. Temperance to the Ten of Pentacles. I just heard eye on the prize, Leo. And if your eye was going to be on any one of the tarot cards right now, I would say the Ten of Pentacles is a pretty good one to be focused on right now. Because what this is really indicating is not only a kind of spiritual inheritance coming into your life, which can most definitely show up in the form of wealth, affluence, but it's also showing us a kind of legacy. And this is what I feel you are preparing to align with. And this Ten of Pentacles is very interesting to me because here you are, right? Male or female, it doesn't matter. Genders don't matter in tarot. And you have this elderly person sitting back here. But I feel like this is you now, preparing to be you now. Doesn't matter how young or old you are. This is just you in the here and now. This is you as you step through the portal. And then this individual back here, I feel like is you in the future. And right now, the vantage point that you and I are at, Leo, is that we're looking at this energy. So there seems to be these three different perspectives that are playing out right now. And what I feel this is all about is giving us this opportunity to be a fly on the wall to where I feel you are going to be in the not so distant future if you are on path, if you are following the guidance, if you are following the steps and the downloads you are receiving intuitively, and if this reading right here resonates with you. Because like I said, Leo, I really feel that what I'm channeling through here are going to be some of the final ingredients. And by showing us this elderly version of you, so well into the future, it's giving us a message of alignment, that this is your path. This is what leads you to your destiny. 10 of Pentacles right there at the sacral. There's a lot of passion here, Leo. And I feel that the timeline that you are preparing to align with is the timeline that is going to see you through the rest of your life. Now, one might argue that every timeline we step onto is the timeline that's going to see us through the rest of our life. Yes, that is true. However, what I'm picking up here, Leo, is that your knowing of this is something that you have never had before. It's an energy of stumbling through life, hoping that we're making the right decisions and just seeing where we land, as opposed to this energy here, which is God saying to you, even though you have free will, right? Not God telling you to go that direction, but God saying to you, that looks like a pretty good direction to go, Leo. This is the tone around your reading. A lot of what's holding you back, Leo, I feel, has been this energy of judgment that's been coming from other individuals, I feel, that have been in your reality, on your timeline, that have been holding you back. I also got in the downloads that God is not judging you. Again, we have free will. God just hopes that you'll make the right decision so you can align with your purpose to fulfill your destiny. But at the end of the day, the intuitive guidance that you receive from Source is all going to be dictated by your environment. So, as you all know, we live in a very disruptive reality. There's distractions left and right coming from all angles, and it's increasing year by year. Some might argue day by day. So when we are inundated with all of these distractions, it makes it very challenging to navigate yourself purely off of your intuition, because all of these distractions inside our environment have us questioning ourselves. Are we taking the right steps? Are we going in the right direction? But it's your proximity to God, your proximity to Source and the divine, that should be able to supply you with the confidence and the knowing that you are moving in the right direction. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what I've found is when you're able to disengage and get away from the distraction, maybe you need to go into a form of hermit mode for a little while, Leo. If you have some big decisions you need to make, this is always a really good thing to do. Just get away from any sort of influence in your life, mostly people, and make sure that the decisions you are making is coming from a place that has to do with the connectivity to your higher guidance. I really do feel this is crucial, that you have an understanding of this right now, Leo. Know when it's time to disengage and know when it's time to engage. I feel that if you can take up a practice surrounding this, you will find that you will start getting much further in life much quicker. And this is something that I practice in my own life, so it is definitely tried and true. And though it sounds very easy to do that, it's not. It's not easy to disengage from everybody and everything in your life so you can be in a form of hermit mode to make decisions in your life. That's very difficult, but it can be done. And I really feel that this is going to be one of the tools that you use moving forward so you can make sure that you're nurturing that connection with your higher guidance. What do we have? The solar plexus? Page of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy at the solar plexus. This goes along perfectly with everything I'm saying, because this depiction of the Page of Cups, we're, again, looking at it as if we are onlookers. I feel this is the distracting energy. It's like an energy that's coming through, trying to use everything they can to take your focus off of the direction that you need to move. This is also highlighting what I said about the individuals that are spiritually underdeveloped. And it's coming in at that solar plexus position. What this is, Leo, is you needing to disengage from people that you've always relied on for advice, for guidance. Because I feel that the elevation, the ascension, the awakening that you're going through is simply not something that any of these individuals have been through before or would begin to understand. It's foreign to them. When I went through my last spiritual awakening, I had quite a lot of people still in my life. People I've since disengaged from myself. But I remember trying to speak to some of these individuals, and it's as if I was speaking another language. It's also not good for your own self-confidence because it makes you feel like you're losing your mind, right? When you see the way people are reacting to you, which is interesting because in a way, you kind of are. You're losing the mind that was programmed into you by this reality that we are living in. You are now elevating to a higher mind. All this time reading tarot, I've done thousands of readings, and I've never, ever had that particular phrasing surrounding losing your mind come through, but it makes perfect sense. It's like a new operating system is being installed. This is another way of looking at it. And all the other applications that you once ran on that old operating system no longer work. Those old applications are those people. There's a language barrier. They can't function with the new operating system. And this is one of the most challenging things to face off with during spiritual awakening, is knowing that there's only so far you can get in the awakening process when you have certain people, behavioral patterns, addictions for some, and when it comes to addictions, it doesn't even have to be something big, right? It could be small things like food that you need to release. All of these things are going to work together to give you that final push into the next timeline. We always know subconsciously what needs to be released from our life. Because I would go as far as saying that once you've plucked out whatever that thing is that needs to be removed, again, person, behavioral pattern, addiction, could even be a place, a thing, whatever it is, you always say to yourself, I knew that thing was holding me back. I knew that thing wasn't good for my health. I knew that person was toxic. There's always that knowing. But it's so interesting how it just doesn't compute enough for us to take action against it. Now, I feel that a way of combating this in the future is by making sure that you are taking that time out to check in with yourself, getting away from the distraction and the chaos of life. And also remember that every toxic thing that you release from your life, whether it be big or small, will come with a kind of payoff. This is when you can really start to have fun with it, Leo. Especially when it comes to health and diets, you start to really fine-tune everything there. If you can learn how to get everything in check with what you're consuming, you will notice huge elevations start to unfold in your life because they're all playing, again, an incremental role in helping raise your vibration, which in turn is allowing you to fully awaken. What do we have at the heart, please? Wow, Eight of Swords, Gemini energy at the heart. And if there was going to be a card for losing your mind, Eight of Swords would definitely be one of them. And it's right there at that heart position. It's as if your environment is imposing these restrictions on you because you were going through this spiritual awakening at a kind of ground zero, so to speak. Now, most of us, probably all of us, are going to go through spiritual awakening when we're in the middle of the chaos, so to speak. We're in that toxic relationship. We're surrounded by low vibrational people, and we just start to have an awakening. We start to realize that we're not like these individuals and we need to get away. That's phase one, because the divine needs to show you how different you are to those in your environment. The divine needs to validate to you that you are indeed a black sheep, that you are a chain breaker. There needs to be a kind of comparison drawn there between an individual who's going through a spiritual awakening and individuals that are still asleep. You need to have the experience of being able to measure that. So now here you are, Leo. You've either had or you are having an awakening in what can be perceived as the center of your current personal hell. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to stay there and allow these individuals to work their magic against you, so to speak, and put you back to sleep? Are you going to allow these individuals to tell you that there's something wrong with you and that the path that you are taking and going down is incorrect? Or are you going to trust the path you're on? Trust the higher guidance you have been receiving from Source, and trust the intuitive nudges that you are getting to start carving out your own path. It's not your fault that you chose the wrong path up until this point, Leo. Most of us just didn't even know. But it is your fault if you stay after you've had this awakening take place. The best thing to do is hold yourself accountable for the part you played up until this point and be on your way, however that shows up for you. And you need to make sure that you are basing your worth off of your soul's frequency and vibration, Leo. Right now, there is a mind war unfolding in your life. So all of your steps forward from this point on need to be decided on a soul level. And I truly believe, Leo, that if you start moving inside of this type of mindset, you will start to see miracles unfold in your life in a relatively short period of time. It can be perceived as a flip of the switch. There's this kind of paradigm shift that takes place during the awakening process. It's when you're being given the choice to step through the threshold and double down on your awakening, or disengage and go back. And right now, I feel that a lot of you, some of you are already over the threshold, but there's quite a lot of you as well, I can feel it, that are walking to the threshold, but you're looking back like, I don't know, right? There's some nerves playing out there, and that's totally normal. But you have to understand, Leo, that God wouldn't guide you this far through the signs and synchronicities in your life to drop you off an edge. What do we have at the throat, please? 4 of Swords, Libra energy in reverse at the throat. Wow. Unbelievable. This 4 of Swords in reverse right there at the throat is speaking about individuals cautioning you that you are moving in the wrong direction. It's like here you are connected to Source, right? Time out. And then here they are in the background like, no, Leo can't fully awaken. We cannot have this. Lord Lucifer will not be pleased. This is that moment, Leo, when you start to realize that a lot of the individuals in your environment, the behavioral patterns, or some of these other details that I was mentioning, aren't in alignment with your higher self and your soul's path. You start to really see that there's you and them, and they have a kind of different God than you. They subscribe to a different sort of lifestyle. And usually this isn't even really fully illuminated to you until you go through certain levels of the awakening process. Again, you start to have these paradigm shifts. You start to perceive your reality completely differently. You start to see these people differently, and it's almost like, wow, I never even noticed this about that person. Or wow, that person's behavioral patterns and the way they live their life is not in alignment with my soul moving forward. This is a perfect example of what I consider the Matrix to be. We hear this term all the time. I mention it all the time because it's very true to life. It's essentially you just waking up to a kind of lie, a kind of illusion in your own life. Now, there's many different levels to it. There's obviously a micro to a macro. We see the macro version of it all around the world. But right now, we're talking about your own individual life, and this is you waking up to the simulation in your life, waking up to the lie. That's what the Matrix means. You know that there's more to life, and you want to go after it, period. There's a major breakthrough preparing to happen here, Leo, but I do feel this resistance. Not only are these individuals cautioning you that you are going in the wrong direction, but the divine is cautioning you that these individuals are utilizing whatever tactics they possibly can to get you to re-engage back into the cycle that they had you in. You see, a lot of people might hear that and say, well, why would they want to hold me back? But what you have to understand is, Leo, depending on who these individuals may be in your life, let's just say for the sake of example, it's an elder, somebody older than you, some kind of authority in your life, maybe it's a parent, an older family member. These individuals don't want to have to look at themselves in the mirror and quite possibly reconsider the way that they've been living their life. They're too invested. Unawakened individuals witness an individual who's going through the awakening process and receive that as some sort of attack on their character. Because usually your awakening process is triggered by your environment, triggered by them in some capacity. What do we have at the third eye? 5 of Wands at the third eye. Wow. What a card to follow everything I just said. There's something about you disengaging as well, Leo, that has caused some sort of disruption in the energy. So Let's say, for the sake of example, you're disengaging from family members because you're going through the awakening process. You just don't want to deal with their toxicity anymore. They're living life out of alignment, and you just don't feel connected to these individuals anymore. You disengaging causes some sort of major disruption amongst all of them. It's as if your light was the glue that held everything together. And now, because you've released, these individuals are having to face themselves, which is causing all sorts of challenges in their own life. A lot of them are questioning themselves, the way they've been living their life. Now, when you look at that from a spiritual perspective, it's as if their inner demons are now attacking them because they weren't able to keep you engaged in the cycle. And that can go to many depths, Leo. And then that can be perceived as them being given a contract to keep you off a path that you are walking as a means to fulfill your destiny, which has an impact on the entire collective. We all play this incremental role. We all are a spoke on the wheel. We all make a difference. So what you start to find is when you're going through this awakening process, it's as if your entire reality starts to crumble. You start to question everything. You feel attacked from all corners, all angles. Nothing looks the same anymore. Colors are brighter. Everything sounds different. I just got a really loud ringing in my right ear right as I said that. So some of you may be hearing tones in your ears as well. Pay attention to the ringing and the tones if you do get that, Leo. There's a kind of language that plays out. It's probably going to be different for each one of you. But a couple of the basics that I have learned, because I get the tones, the ringing in my ears all the time, especially when I'm doing readings. I'm clairaudient, so it influences how I read tarot. But when I get it in my right ear, it can indicate a yes. It can indicate something being received. It can indicate something positive. When I get in my left ear, it can indicate something needing to go out. It can indicate a no. It can indicate a kind of warning. It can indicate needing to take caution. So if you start getting that ringing, maybe apply what I just said and then see how that starts to work out for you, and then program your own language around that. Usually, if you kind of come up with what you feel intuitively those tones mean to you, then your spirit team will follow suit. The ringing is also, it's a kind of Morse code. It's how the divine communicates with us, Leo. So pay attention. What do we have? The crown, please? Wow. Page of Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy at the crown. Yeah, there's a lot of talk, a lot of Chinese whispers is what I'm hearing, Leo. Page of Swords is the card of gossip. It is the card of people watching you, watching your moves. I just heard, oh no, Leo knows the truth. That really speaks about the energy that I'm picking up here. You know, Leo, a lot of what I feel has actually triggered your awakening, and this can be said for many people. I think this is one of the things that triggered my most recent big awakening quite a few years back now, was just noticing people around me always talking about what they're going to do, but never actually doing it. And then as you get older and older, you just notice that nobody has progressed forward. Everybody's just been stuck on this hamster wheel. That's what awakening is like, realizing that you've been on a hamster wheel. You know, leading up until my most recent awakening, I actually kept seeing this very vivid video looping in my mind's eye of this white hamster running on a hamster wheel inside a cage. And it wasn't until after I started having my awakening process did I even realize it. It was all happening subconsciously. The divine trying to send me signs and synchronicities. So again, pay attention to your thoughts. Where does your mind go? What kind of videos do you see in your mind playing on loops? What is the divine trying to awaken you to, Leo? Because I feel it's very similar to the example I just gave you. But in saying all of that, I just feel you got to a point where you were sick and tired of waiting on other individuals. You know, we get in these karmic cycles and we may repeat a couple of things and not think anything about it. And then all of a sudden, 10 years have passed you by. A lot of the people in your environment, you just almost start to look at like they're broken robots that are just repeating the same patterns, the same phrases. You start to see them glitching inside your matrix. This is very real. I started to really notice this during my last major awakening, Leo. I saw the matrix glitch. And that's what that actually means. When you see something and you're like, what was that? And it's most commonly going to show up in other people's communication or behavior towards you. Something just starts to seem off, like they're not all there. So again, pay attention. What do we have at the foundation, please? Oh, wow. The star, Aquarius energy, Gype. This is read as the star in its negative polarity. So whenever I get this guy, right, it's like this demon. It's like, go ahead and hand over that purpose, Leo. You won't be needing that. Hand over that hope. And it's right underneath that temperance. So that's what you're disengaging from. You know, I just had this message come through, but it's like looking at people, Leo, as you're going through the awakening process, and you can almost see their faces morphing into something that is unfamiliar to you. There's a kind of breaking down of your reality. Again, the glitch in the matrix. Some of the most wicked people that I disengage from look like kinds of entities to me because my perception of them has completely changed. I don't see them the way I once did. I see them through the eyes of somebody who is awakened to the truth. So the part they played inside the matrix of my life, inside the old timeline, never really existed. They were actors and actresses, which is very interesting because it takes me back to what I said about these individuals feeling like your awakening is an attack on their character. It's an attack on the character they were playing. And that is the reality that they are waking up to now. They're waking up to the fact that they were playing a kind of villain in your life, and a lot of these people weren't even consciously aware of it. That's a very hard truth to accept that I don't even really know if people can fully accept that. It's too big of an idea. It would take too much surrender on their part. Let's face it, Leo, there's just not a lot of people that are willing to do that these days. But it's the individuals, I feel like yourself, Leo, who can surrender, right, to what you've engaged in up until this point, that are given the keys to the kingdom, so to speak. Spiritual awakening should really bring you to your knees, Leo. It's not a comfortable, beautiful process. That's where you're trying to get to. But when you're in the throes of awakening, it's painful. It hurts. You're faced with the reality of the life you've been living up until that point. But it's amongst all of that when something beautiful starts to unfold in your life, Leo. I just heard the ever unfolding rose, and I can see a rose unfolding in my mind's eye, like somebody's put a camera to a rose blossoming and then sped it up, and then putting it on repeat. I just heard that's what you want to trade in. The video of the hamster on the hamster wheel looping is a video in your mind's eye of an ever unfolding rose. That represents evolution. It represents awakening. It represents death and rebirth spiritually. It represents transformation. What do we have at the sacral, please? Six of Pentacles. Amy. Wow, what a card to get right underneath that Ten of Pentacles. Here you are aligning, receiving your spiritual inheritance, which is just another way of speaking about everything that has been promised to you in this life cycle should you align with your path as a means to fulfill your destiny. And then these individuals here feeling cheated. It's also an energy of coveting, right? Coveting your spiritual inheritance. It's as if, spiritually speaking, they received something for you not receiving this, right? It's like that contract that they had with the underworld without even knowing it. You know, I can go really deep here, Leo, but just try and keep things relatively simple. The way this unfolds in your life is when you are living a life that is out of accordance with your soul's purpose. So what I mean by this is, inside this reality, there's a lot of people that succumb to the deadly sins, right? The 7 deadly sins. Now, all of us are challenged with this on a daily basis. And nobody's perfect, but if you're mindful that you've maybe stepped off path, that's really when you have a leg up over this energy or these sins taking you over. But when you succumb to these sort of temptations, the 7 deadly sins, and you don't do anything about it, you start to become solidified inside that way of living. Now, those 7 deadly sins are kinds of laws. They put you on a different vibrational plane, and they make you a vessel for different forms of demonic possession. Now, demonic possession are behavioral patterns. That's how they show up in our reality. And what I feel has happened with you, Leo, is that you have been surrounded by people that have become vessels for these particular behavioral patterns, have been living their life out of accordance with divine law, but rather living their life in accordance and alignment with the lower underworld vibrational laws, allowed them to become vessels to keep you off your path and away from receiving your divine blessings. What do we have at the solar plexus? Oh, wow. Queen of Pentacles. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy at the solar plexus. This confirms everything I just said. This energy here is speaking on these individuals being promised something. Another way of life if they keep you off your path. This is an energy here that's driven for material gain over the relationships in their life. Very self-centered individuals that are used as a vessel to show up like this in your life to distract you. Hey, Leo. Hey, I got something for you, Leo. Trickster kind of energy. Very distracting, very in your face. These are going to be the common denominators in your life. I quite often talk about when we're presented with failure after failure in areas of our life when there's no good reason because we're seemingly putting all the work in, but we're spinning our wheels. And then you start to have a look at your environment, the people in it, the behavioral patterns that you subscribe to, maybe addictions, maybe things you're consuming. You start to go in and work on all the details and just pluck out all the common denominators. What was around when you were hitting a brick wall? Start plucking those things out of your life one by one, and you will start to see progress in that particular area. What do we have at the heart, please? Paimon, Aries, Leo, Sag energy. Deception. I'm picking up an energy here, Leo, of individuals trying to make you feel small, trying to make your accomplishments or the things that you are going after seem like they're not anything special. This is a very cold, very apathetic energy. This is also somebody who's very, very mean-spirited, incredibly selfish and domineering. This is somebody here who tries to shrink down your accomplishments to fit within their ego. Oh, just saying that makes me feel very upset for you, Leo. I know that one. A lot of you have been dealing with this. But again, it's because these individuals feel that every move you make is an attack on their character, and that is not your problem. You're a blessing in these individuals' lives. It may not look that way now. They may not even get it right in this lifetime, but eventually they will. Then we have Haziel, Taurus energy, the Hierophant. And here is God and all your spirit guides showing up right there at the heart. Divine forgiveness. And this is speaking about what I said in regards to forgiving the wicked in your life. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. This is what this is all about. This is the final ingredient, Leo. It doesn't justify anybody's nasty behavior towards you. What it does is release the burdens from you and supply you with the final ingredient you need to step through this portal and onto this new timeline. It's right there at the heart, right underneath that 8 of Swords. So this is what releases you from this place of restriction and a form of mental imprisonment. It's time to let this go. What do we have at the throat, please? Six of Cups, Scorpio energy at the throat. Sialia, God who steers all men. Motivation, lifts up those who are fallen and humiliated. This is you now stepping into the new timeline and receiving this spiritual inheritance. This is you leaving the past behind. This is you overcoming these individuals' expectations for how you should be living your life. This is you overcoming all the seeds of self-doubt that they tried to plant into your psyche, telling you that the path you were taking was unrealistic. This is you cutting the cord, leaving the past behind. I feel that a lot of you are going to have a big emotional release. I vaguely remember picking up on this in one of the Zodiac readings sometime over the past few months. It might have been in a Leo reading, but whatever the case, what I'm picking up here is a release that makes it feel like you are gasping for air, as if you just pulled a high-force suctioning tube off of your sacral, solar plexus region, right? So right around your stomach, and it leaves you feeling completely depleted of every drop of air inside of you. I've gone through this, Leo. It's not a comfortable process, but this is another part of having cords released up off you. This may have happened to some of you already. It may be on the horizon. It's not painful. It's just uncomfortable. But the way you feel afterwards, Leo, is beyond what I can even try to describe to you. What do we have at the third eye, please? Three of Pentacles, Capricorn energy at the third eye. EIL, God-hearing laminations, mental force, protects against sorrows and illness. Leo, you have a whole spirit team around you right now because of the path you're taking. You have to understand that when you start stepping on this path, which, as we know, is no cakewalk. This is not easy at all. It's the most difficult thing that you will go through in your life because of the paradigm shift in your reality, right? Like I was saying, the upgrading of your operating system. But once you give yourself to the divine, you surrender, and you actually start aligning with your purpose as a means to fulfill your destiny, you're surrounded by all these helpers in the spiritual realm. There's a lot that's going on behind the scenes. Things are being arranged for you. So in saying that, Leo, they want you to know that you are not alone. Some of you may be physically alone, but just outside of your perceived vision, outside of what you can see with the naked eye, is a whole team working around the clock to help elevate you, to help get you in alignment and support you on this path, which speaks about the importance of where you're going. Just like I said, we all make an incremental change in the grand scheme of life. Again, we are all a spoke on the wheel. What do we have at the crown to close this out for Leo? Seven of Wands. Leo, that is your energy to close out the reading. Re-I-L, the expected God. Liberation, deliverance from enemies, both visible and invisible. Wow, what a card to get after everything we have said in this reading. It really speaks about what I said in regards to these individuals being your enemy on the spiritual plane, right? And this is you now having a deeper understanding of this. This is you taking a stand for yourself, Leo. This is you persevering forward, taking your own path if you need to. This is you taking complete control over your life and defying the system of control, the script, the operating system that you've been engaging with up until this point without the knowing that it was working against you. This is you not succumbing to the enemy's tactics, whoever that may be for you, and giving up on yourself. This is you pushing forward and not only creating this new reality for yourself, but whether you know it or not, Leo, your impact and influence will be felt in these individuals' lives for the rest of their days. And this is all because of your proximity to the divine and source. Leo, this is the message I have available to you, depending on where you are on this timeline, should you choose to accept. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like personal reading, you can find all of my contact details in the description below this video. And thank you for your donations, Leo. Take care.